Hi guys, and welcome to Get Into It, where we do just that. I'm Ambree.
And I'm Jordan Rice, and today we are going to be sharing some of our experiences as POC at a PWI. Now, if you've listened to us for a little bit, some of these stories might sound a little familiar, but a lot of them aren't. And we also posed that question on our social medias, on our TikTok and our Instagram at getintoit_podcast. Follow us if you don't, where we actually have some of y'all's stories and we're going to share them as well. And they're really interesting. I hesitate to say like good or
Right.
it's traumatic, but they're interesting. So let's get started. Ambree, do you want to start with one of yours?
Okay, this was like a minor one, but like I remember I was in math class and I was seated with
what grade?
girl. I don't remember it. No grades. I should have known that you're not gonna remember your grade. I never remember the grade. All of them blur together, and I do not care about American education system. But anyway, I think I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, young, 14, 15. And I was seated with only white boys. Because I think, I was one of those kids where I was quiet and I kept to myself. So they would put me with the people who talked a lot because I was supposed to be yes, I'm supposed to be a positive influence, which never freaking works. It just never works. Just awkward. So I was there and we were looking at a presentation on the board. And there was this girl in front of us who wore an afro. But her afro was like really big and beautiful. And of course I was like, yes, it's so gorgeous. But the white guys in my class, who were in the farther part of the classroom, he was like, oh, I can't see, like this girl's hair is so huge. It looks like Colin Kaepernick, move, Colin Kaepernick. And like the girl didn't even, like the black girl wasn't phased. I don't know if she heard him. I don't know what was going on. And it was one of the moments that I actually kind of regret because I didn't correct him. I was just kind of like, just shut up and just move your neck. But I didn't correct him and I feel really bad about it. And I hope the girl didn't hear him because he was just being so incredibly rude and like just making random jokes about her hair. And it was just unnecessary. And all the guys were laughing pretty much in this little circle that we sat in. That was like agitating.
I think a lot of my stories come from white boys at school, and they were just like really, someone said on TikTok, joy is a revolution because they don't want to see a black person. I'm substituting what they actually said. They don't want to see a black person happy. And I was like, that is like the mission of white boys in developmental education. Like they do not want to see a black person happy, it seems like, because that was so unnecessary. I think one of those kind of sounded like someone from our post that responded. It kind of reminds me of that story. So they said, me and my best friend were hanging out after school together and we were walking around the school and these white boys cornered us in a dead end. And he walked over and pulled/grabbed my box braids and then after asked if he could touch them and told my best friend she'd look better with box braids instead of her natural hair.
You know what? White men have a lot of opinion on black people hair. Like they really do. It's really weird, actually. I've had like numerous little minor things where I've just heard white men commenting on black women's hair. They never do it as much with white women's hair. They're just kind of like, oh, it blows in the breeze. It's pretty. But like us, we have categories.
Down her back.
Right. A messy bun, whatever. It's like, but we have like categories of like decent and ugly. Like it's like, oh, this hair is tolerable, but this hair is disgusting. You need to do something with it. Right. It's weave. When sometimes it's not even weave. It's just extensions. But you only call it extensions with white women.
You saw that TikTok, didn't you? That TikTok, oh my God.
No, that was me. I didn't see the TikTok.
Okay, well, anyways. All right, so my story, since we're on the topic of white boys, which actually a lot of my stories come from them. So I was, and if you are also on our TikTok, you kind of know this, I had my hair in a poof. It's not anything extravagant. It was literally just up in a poof. And it was one of the first times I was like getting comfortable wearing my natural hair to school. And I sat also with all 3 white boys at the back of the classroom. So I don't know if that was some racism on the part of the teacher to like mess with me, but that's what happened. And I had my hair in a poof, and this guy, they were joning on each other, and he looks at me and points at my hair and was like, Jordan, I don't know why you're just not saying anything, because whenever I look at your hair, I just see a bird's nest. And I was in 7th grade, and I didn't know what to say in response to that. Like, I really didn't. And people in the comments of our TikTok posts were really like, you should have done this and you should have said that and da da da. And I was like, I just didn't have the confidence in my blackness or in my hair or anything to be able to say something back. Not even like insulting him, just like defending myself. I didn't have that confidence, and that makes me be like, But it's tough. I think we always say that going to white schools teaches you a lot about advocacy, either from the lack of you doing it for yourself or just the situations that it puts you in. So
it fries your nerves a bit, because you're kind of like, it's like a miniature short circuit. Like, you hear something like a microaggression, or you're like, God forbid it was directed at you, and you're kind of just like, am I supposed to defend myself? And because if I do, I know I'm going to get the angry Black girl stereotype.
That's what I was just about to say.
If I don't, then I'm the submissive, subservient Black woman. So it's like,
and then I'm also not advocating for myself, and I'm like, I didn't want to seem like an angry Black person.
Right.
It was in the back.
It's that's what gets you though. That's what gets you. It's that stereotype in particular that stopped me from doing a lot of things that I should have done in defense of myself and others. Like, the angry Black woman stereotype will get you every time. It will get you every time. They have no fear of pulling that out to hurt you.
This is not even a story I was going to tell, but I think what I'm about to tell. I was in gym class, and we were all like, you take turns who's playing or whatever. And so it was just me. I was the only Black girl and a bunch of white girls, and this white boy was just standing there with us, right? And he was like systematically just going and like joning on everyone, but not in a fun, joking way. Like, he was insulting people. And he gets to my friend. He starts talking all this mess and da 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 da. And I was like, listen, bro, like, you need to calm down. I start like talking back. And he said, oh my gosh, someone needs to take this girl to therapy because she has anger issues. When I tell you, I about lost my mind. I was like, well, if you're already going to call me an angry Black woman, let me just fulfill that fantasy for you. Like, I about lost my mind. And thank God for my friend, because like, she was like actually physically held me back. I was so I was incensed. I was mad, bro. I can't even. I think that's the only moment that I can actually remember advocating for someone else. Like, it wasn't even me, but like trying to like stand up for someone, and then someone actually just blatantly putting angry Black woman on my face and like said it very loudly. And I was like,
again, it's like one of their favorite things in their arsenal, because it's easy to do. And it's not even just anger, any type of passion threatens them. So it's like, it's not even just like, I'm angry at you for saying this microaggression. It's me passionately speaking about something that I like that threatens you, or it's like something that I want to defend. It still threatens you. So it's just kind of like, it's all encompassing, and it's just so
like, you can't win.
You can't win. And once you learn that you can't win, that's honestly the easiest thing to understand.
Because you're like, well, I'm just gonna
like, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gonna do what I gotta do, and then you get better. So let's see, what story do I have? I have one of my favorite traumatic stories.
Yay. It's horrible.
Horrible. Let's see, how grade was I in? I always have trouble thinking about this, but I think I was in middle school. We're just gonna go with that. Broad term, I was young, very young. A child. And I was in social studies class. And again, I don't say this to brag, but I was, the little boards some teachers had, like the best student will be at the top, and like it'll move up and down. It's like supposed to be like a motivational thing. Well, I was at the top. Okay, a girl did good in that class, and so it wasn't. It's relevant for something later in the story. And so we were just in class having conversation, and my teacher posed a question, and I raised my hand. Now the other girl across from me, who was Black, raised her hand at the same time. And my teacher, for some reason, was like, "Oh, look, the Black girls are raising their hand." Was the most bizarre thing. It was so bizarre, But it had to be like maybe 4 of us max.
What?
2 Black women and maybe some Black men.
No, so, don't say men and women, because y'all were children, Black girls and boys.
Girls and boys. You're right, 100% right. And the rest was like white or Hispanic or whatever. But it was we were the minority for sure. And so everybody was just looking at us, like
at you instead of him.
Yes,
looking at him
because you know, I mean, they want to see our reaction. They want to see how it feels to be called out. Because it wasn't necessarily, he wasn't saying like, he never said that, oh, look, they're dumb, so like, let me point this out. It was never that, but it was like, you can't interpret it as that. As a kid, you 100% are going to interpret it as you're surprised.
Because why else are you saying that?
Exactly. Why else would you say? You would never say that if 2 white girls at the same time.
The whites are no, you wouldn't do that.
You would never say that.
Yeah.
And you know what the interesting thing is? Because I told this story before on the podcast, and I believe that's the name of one of the episodes.
It's the first episode. It's the name of the first one.
Right. Yeah.
Go listen to it.
Listen to it. And I actually got a text from somebody. Remember, I told you this. I got a text from somebody who was in the class. They're like, I don't know how they got my number. I still don't know who it is, but they text me.
That was the funniest thing. Like, I have no idea who this is.
I kind of panicked because I didn't know who it was. And they texted me and they were like, I think I was in the class when this happened and I didn't say anything. And I'm sorry for that. And you know what? It was so heartwarming. But here's the thing, like, you were a kid too. I don't expect you to know how to defend another kid, especially, I'm assuming that person was white. I don't know if they were. But I don't know if you had the tools to know what to do. I didn't know what to do. We were kids. We were never supposed to be put in that situation in the first place. So I was like,
by an adult.
Right. And by an adult who knows better, who've been teaching for years.
The adults have failed. Like, they fail in every single situation. Like, there has not been a situation that it was some race issue was brought up to the adults' attention if they weren't the ones causing the problem, like in this scenario, where they handled it properly. In my experience, not a single one.
So I was like, I accepted that apology, but I was like what? I really don't blame you. That is 100% not on you.
Yeah,
I didn't correct him until I told my parents, and they corrected him. But because I did. Again, I was already, and I am a shy person. Like I was never meant to be put in that situation. I literally can't. I have a hard time with confrontation. I for sure had a harder time when I was a kid. So I was like, I just went about my day after that. Like, I literally I didn't have the tools to address it. Neither did my friend. Neither did the Black girl who raised her hand at the same time as me. Like, we were just shocked. We were completely shocked. And he apologized, but it was just kind of like, I was done. Like, you know, I was a good student. You know that I like to answer your questions. You know, I engage with you all the time. I don't know why you felt the need to, you know, call me out like that and question my intelligence, or at least make me think that you're questioning my intelligence. It's bizarre.
Someone commented, I was in the 1st grade and my twists were popping and I went into class but got called out by the principal, who was Black but whitewashed. Their words, not mine. I'm reading it verbatim. And she called me out because I had on a MLK shirt in February, Black History Month. And I was confused. I asked why I can't wear this. And she said, because he, MLK, made life harder for the authorities to care about people like you. Black people. When I read that, I was like, she said what? She said what? And this is okay. Okay. Go ahead, because
because that's so bizarre. That is so bizarre. That is bizarre. Imagine.
I'm just so hysterical right now. Like, I'm not laughing because I think it's fun. I'm laughing because, like, I have no idea.
Because that's insane. That's literally insanity. You're mad at a man who critiqued white supremacy.
Who is deceased?
Who was assassinated. And you're saying that he was wrong for critiquing white supremacy?
The thing that killed
You're
him?
saying the thing that killed, the very thing that killed him. Like, he knew it was going to happen. But, like, the very thing that...
In Black History Month!
During Black History Month. Oh my God, I'm so sorry to that person. That literally is horrifying.
Oh my God.
I wonder what happened after that.
Actually, like, I wonder too. if you see this and you want to tell us what happened next,
right.
Follow us on Get Into It _podcast on TikTok and Instagram to let us know what happened, because Lord. Okay, let's give me okay. So one thing that happened to me was I was walking into a class and all the people were like warning me. They're like, Jordan, there's this new girl in here. Cause I wasn't there for the last class or whatever. And they were like, there's this new girl and she's really abrasive and da 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 da. And she's really just, rambunctious and obnoxious. And I was like, okay, like I didn't understand why anyone was talking to me. The girl comes in, she's white, and she sits next to me and she very loudly goes, oh my God, you look like the girl from Annie. This is after the live action, the not the live.
Oh, the black, yeah, the black Annie.
Janae Wallace came out. What was that, in 2014?
That
Annie, and she's like, which I don't look like the girl.
You do not.
I didn't look like her, but okay. She's like, you look like the girl, the Annie, doesn't she? And she proceeds to grab my chin and my face, hold my face, and like squeeze my head and like show the other white people in the room, like display me, like, and said I look like Annie. I felt my ancestors rising up within me. And I was like, I know, I'm like so serious, because I didn't tell my parents for a long time, because when I tell you I blacked out after that, I cannot remember what happened. So I never saw the girl again. So that, just take with that what you will. I never saw her again. She never came back to that class, but I can't remember what I said or did in that situation.
Right.
When I told my parents, it's like years later. And I was like, I had a realization that one of the things, when I say my ancestors were rising up within me, one of the things that really, really bothered me was, when they would auction off slaves, they would show them, like, grab their teeth and their face and their bodies and just show them off to white people. Like, look at this animal, this exhibit and stuff. And I don't like the feeling of her grabbing my face like that and holding it, and had it didn't compute to her that was a messed up thing to do at all. It just seemed like her right to grab me any type of way. It really, I was like, I didn't understand why it enraged, that, but I was like, maybe this is why. It was ridiculous.
Wow. Well, that's generational trauma for you.
Boom!
It sounds like it was like something that it's ingrained in your DNA to kind of be uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Sounds like okay, let me the thing about these stories is that I have them that are like so similar, because it's happened to me multiple times. Like I've had pencils put in my afro before when I wasn't looking, and then like when I turned around, they were like, oh, I just want to see if it'll stay in there. I've had, I have this one specific instance where there was this girl, you know her. I just can't say her name, but she was.
Okay, tell the story. Maybe I'll know.
I'll tell it later. There was this white girl, and she was in my class, and I had a few conversations with her, but we weren't friends. We were not even acquaintances. We were just people who talked theater.
Okay.
We were people who talked in past. We were people who talked in passing. Mm-hmm. And so I was sitting down because we were doing a show and we had to do notes. And if you're a theater kid, you have to sit down like in front of the stage or wherever you're at and listen to the notes being told.
Notes are like feedback on your performance and things.
Right, feedback on the performance. So you have to sit there and just be quiet and listen. And I was just sitting, minding my business, and I had a puff on my head, and I was leaned back a bit, and I think she was like behind me or slightly behind me. And next thing I know, I feel like a claw coming up to my hair and a few squeezes. And at this point, I'm like 17, 16, 18, around there. Mm-hmm. And I feel her hand and I turn around and I was like, can I help you? And she was like, oh no, I thought it was so cute. Like I just wanted to squeeze it. I was like, you realize that that's my hair. Like you can't do that. Don't do that ever again. And it was the one time that I thoroughly remember being like, I'm not having it. And she was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I was like, okay. And I turned around. See, the thing is, maybe a year after that, I was doing the same thing. This time, this is weird. This time I was leaning forward. I was wearing like a lower cut dress. I was leaning forward, I was wearing a lower cut dress, and I was minding my business as I always do. Same girl, slightly behind me. I feel her hand poke at my boob twice. I can't make this up. I was just laying there and she poked at my boobs twice. And I was like, can I help you? I was so shocked. You have to know that she was not my friend. She was not my friend. She wasn't my acquaintance. She just felt the need to like touch my body. And I was like, are you kidding? No, literally like a year later or maybe a few months. I don't know. But it was genuinely the most bizarre thing ever. And I had to get at her the same way. I was like, are you serious? Don't do that again. The same way.
Tell me who this is when this gets over.
I will. Oh, it was this.
I have my ideas. I have my ideas, but the second one really threw me off, bro.
I was like, just because, like, to me, maybe that one wasn't as racialized as like her like grabbing at my hair.
No, but, like, because then it's like white people feeling like they have a right to just grab you and touch you and like they have the right over your body to do whatever they want to at any given point in time.
To physically inspect me. I was just I have never seen her do that to anybody else. That's what was extra weird.
They don't, you don't see that. Now there might be some exceptions, obviously, but in general, people don't just go around touching folks that they don't. Okay.
And she looked genuinely offended when I was like, stop.
She was offended?
Yes, she was like, like really defensive, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. Like, girl, it was so weird.
I have nothing to add to that. I have nothing.
It was so weird.
Okay. Someone commented. This one I've been waiting to share with you, Ambree. I'm so ready. Freshman year, I started a race war because...
Great start.
Freshman year, I started a race war because there was this group of white athletes being homophobic towards my friend. And I walked up to them and told them to leave him alone and that it's none of their business. It started as just me. Then all the other black kids chipped in and we were arguing and the black kids wanted to fight the white one. So I had to break them up. We were at a scrimmage, which is like a basketball game or a sports game or whatever. Yeah. They started a race for their freshman year. I think that is so iconic. I don't condone violence or anything or fighting or anything like that, but I do condone you sticking up for your friend and speaking out against things that are wrong. And I'm glad that the other Black people around you helped you out, especially because homophobia in the Black community is a topic. So for them to be helping you out was really amazing.
Right.
Freshman year, you're doing big things early on.
Right, big moves. Big moves.
Money moves.
I don't remember shaking the table until my senior year. So like making the white folks angry collectively was my senior year.
Wow. Right. Please.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from my teacher. I took a contemporary issues in law class and the class was ending and me and my friend were discussing whatever, I don't remember. And my white teacher, unprovoked, like had nothing to do with the lesson, comes over to me and was like, so what are your thoughts on reparations? And I was like, huh? I was like, huh? And he's like, your thoughts on reparations? And I was like, do I think that Black people are entitled to reparations? The answer is yes. And he was like, so how would you go about that? He expected me to have a complete description of how I think reparations should be distributed in Black America. I was like, now I have my answers now, but I was like, are you walking up to any other person in this room and asking them how they think to give a detailed, correct, and accurate response? So then like I felt myself trying to like grasp at straws and I was like, say this, da 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 da, and I would say these things. He's like, so what about Black people who immigrated here? Because he was like, I don't think they should be getting them because they weren't descendants of slaves. And I was like, but they still suffer from white supremacy. They're still oppressed by that. So like, what's your point? He said, so you just think we should give all the money? I was like, why are you hassling me? Right. The bell has rung. I'm waiting to go home. You can do your own. Obviously, you have your own opinion. And why me of all people in this? I am not a scholar. I'm in 11th grade.
And that's the thing. That is a running theme with white teachers specifically. They will ask you any type of question about your Blackness and expect you to have the most informed answer.
Articulate,
and like literally, right,
educated answer.
Right. And it's like, girl, I'm 15. Like, I don't have the answer. But you wouldn't do this to like a white student talking about like economic. Like you want me to have like the answer, the saving grace for my people. I don't have that. I still don't have that. I'm 19. I still don't got that. I couldn't give you the most articulate answer if I wanted to, because I'm not informed in that. You need to talk to somebody who specializes.
Who maybe studies that, who is an expert in finances and things like that. Right. Like, I really didn't understand what I wanted. I didn't understand what he wanted me to say.
Like, I feel like there's a way to pose a question to somebody who you know is going to have an answer that you want. Like, you know, somebody of an identity that can answer that question. You have to come about it or go about it respectfully. Like, you can be like, okay, I have a question and it's more of a culturally significant question. So if you're comfortable answering, I would love to hear your answer, and then go. Like then you literally they never
so what are your thoughts on reparations?
Exactly. They never do that.
What do you mean?
Can ask me culturally significant questions. I can answer, but only if I'm comfortable and only if you like ask for my consent. Because sometimes that's triggering. Like you never know. And I don't have the answers. I will be confused if you're coming at me, you know, from jump asking these questions. Just interesting. White teachers always do that. You know what? When it comes to schooling, I really don't have any more stories.
I have an honorable mention, which I feel like these are like flash floods. When they would turn the lights off in the classroom and all the white kids would go, where are all the black people? Honorable mention. They talk about slavery or the civil rights movement and all the white people turn their head at you looking like you were supposed to feel something with that. Like I don't know what they're looking for. That's one. I think I had another one. No, those might just be it. But those are my two honorable mentions. Again, thank you for everyone who submitted your stories. I'm so sorry that those things happened to you. Thank you for feeling safe enough with us to share them. Again, I'm so sorry that those things happened to you. If you guys want another episode like this, let us know. You can follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at getintoit_podcast. We have visual podcasts now. So if you're listening, you can also go on our YouTube, just Get Into It podcast and watch the visual ones. And we'll put clips of it on our Instagrams and on our TikTok. So unless Ambree has anything else to say, I think this is a goodbye.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.